Hey everybody, JR from JrZCarZ, and today it's another fix for the fleet. So I'm going to be replacing the alternator on my 2008 Honda Odyssey because it failed and it's about 110 degrees outside. So stick around and I'll show you how to get this done. Alright, so first thing you want to do is obviously open your hood. Get yourself a nice cold beverage and be out of earshot of people because you are probably going to curse when you see where this is and what you have to do to get it out. Alright, so maybe I lied. It's not that bad, but you're probably going to curse a little bit. The alternator is right down here on the side of the engine. So you're going to have to take a lot of stuff apart to get to it. But the true first thing that you want to do is disconnect your battery. So being that it died while I was driving it, the battery basically got wiped out because I was driving up to work. So I took the battery out and I brought it inside to charge it. It took about 2 days to charge back up. So that's out of here now, but you definitely want to disconnect your positive and your negative terminals. Next thing you want to do is take your beauty cover off here. There's these two screws here, and then there's clips in the back. You just pull this straight up after these clips are released. And I have this loose now. And here is what you're going to be looking at. It's the top end of your engine without the beauty cover on it. And the next thing you want to do is you want to take this cover off over here. It's got a bunch of these little clips here. Just want to get one of these and get up underneath the clip and pop those up and pull those out. And then we'll do that for each one of these here and pull this cover right off. And because I live in the Northeast, there's no such thing as a rust-free car. What are we going to find? Rust. Yay. All right, so a lot of people say you got to remove these brackets to be able to pull the condenser and the radiator forward to get a little extra room. I'm going to show you how to do this without taking them off. You want to take that 10mm bolt out right there. And right here, you have a cap that goes over top of that bolt there, which is a wire that goes to the top of the alternator you have to get out. And then you have a similar one right down, let's see, here on the back side that you have to do the same thing right there. All right, so looking down in there, you got this cap off. I pulled that cap off and you can see that it's a connector that's on the back side. You just pop that clip in and pull the connector out, and then that'll free up this whole wire set here. One thing to note is you see this wire here. This one actually goes down to the AC compressor. So you have to be careful. You can pull it up a little bit, just like I did, to kind of free it up a little bit here. But you don't want to yank on this and pull it all the way out. So just be mindful of that. And then if you look at the wiring up here, it goes up here to your coil pack too. So you want to watch when you're moving this around. All right, so now we're at the point where we got to take the belt off. So if you look down here, right in the center of your screen there's a little bolt that's on the tensioner. All right, so you're going to get a 3/4 inch socket on there, and you're going to take your wrench and you're going to push it towards the back of the car to release the tension on the belt. Now, if you want an in-depth look at that, I have another video, which I'll link down below, on how to change the belt tensioner and the belt itself. I go into a little bit more depth there. And with the belt out of the way and a little bit of light in there, you can see where the alternator is. So there's this bracket right on the top, and that's what this connected to. What we're going to do is there's a bolt right underneath here. You can probably see the back side of it right about there. That's connected to the alternator, and the other side of this is connected to the block. So we'll take this out so we can get this bracket out of the way. And if you look right there, you'll see those two 12mm bolts, one to the left of the bracket and one to the right. Those need to be removed. All right, so here's that bracket. It's off. On the top of the alternator, let's see if I can get you in here and see that. All right, so that is the top bolt of the alternator. That's what you need to remove. So you need to remove that bracket because that's what holds the top end of the alternator in place. And then if you look way down at the bottom there in the center of that screen, let's see if I can zoom you in right there. That bolt right in the center of your screen is the bottom bracket bolt. So that one's got to come out now, and then the alternator will be loose. And just so you don't have to struggle with it, that bolt is a 14mm bolt. All right, now that I got that loose, what you're gonna wanna do is just keep wiggling the alternator back and forth until you can get it loose from its seating in there. There we go. All right, so here's what I did. So AC line, I took the bolt that takes this off and gives you a little bit of flexibility. Don't go grabbing away and banging away on it because you're not going to get much room, but just a little bit helps. This line here is also moved out a little bit, so we have that, both of them out of the way. And I removed that bolt over here for the AC line, so I get a little extra wiggle room. I took the power steering reservoir. If you pull this piece of metal back a little bit, this power steering reservoir will come free. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the return and the feed. Make sure that you have something underneath it because you're going to lose the fluid that's in here. It's probably a good thing anyway, because I guarantee you probably haven't changed your power steering fluid in a very long time anyway. So go ahead and disconnect these and pull these hoses off. And now that that's out of there, I'll tuck that hose up out of the way here. Tuck that hose up out of the way here. You have all this room in here, once I get my light out of the way, to pull that alternator right out of this area in here. And you should be able to move the hoses around just enough. Oh, I'm sorry, this was another one that I had to move. So this is clipped in here. So I took that off, and then that is connected to all the wiring that was in the front connected to the alternator. So that should give us enough room to pull that alternator right out of here. All right, so attempt 2 here. I took the bracket for the power steering pump off, and I disconnected the bolt for the washer tank. And I dropped that same bolt down into the dismal abyss. So I could get a little bit more flexibility with the washer fluid hose. I may have to disconnect that to get a little bit of space because, as you can see in here, alternator's rubbing on it when it comes out. So let's try and see what we can do here. And we have birth, but gotta watch this. This is one thing that I had to disconnect that I noticed when I was pulling it apart. This is the wire that I said that goes down to the AC compressor. You have to pull that out of here. So just make sure that you disconnect this here, pull that out, and then you can get this alternator all the way out. Now, mind you, this van has 187,000 miles on it right now, so it's about time for it to be done, but holy crap, look at this. The whole casing of it is split, and this is not what I did. I saw this before I started moving it out, but like the whole case here is split, broke. It's broken in here all the way to the back. So it doesn't surprise me that this guy doesn't work anymore. But I have a replacement, and it's going in right now. All right, and just like that, she slipped right back in. What you're gonna have to do is get that bottom ear right in that area over there. But in order to get that in there, you see that bushing that's right in the center? You're gonna have to tap that out towards the outside of the car, just so you can get those ears in there, because it's gonna be a tight fit, but it should move pretty freely for you to get that out. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put this bracket back on, and this is the one that attaches to the block and then to the upper part of the alternator here. The shorter one is the one that goes through the block on the top bolt here, and then the longer one is the one that goes through the alternator ear, which is right there, and then it's going to attach to this here on the back side. And one thing to note is when you're putting this all back together, just keep all the bolts loose. So that way you have a little bit of wiggle room when you're doing this. So that way you can move things around as you need to line all the bolts and everything up. And then when everything is lined up, then you can torque it down. All right, so now I have everything tightened down with the alternator. Everything is in place. So you got to put all your wiring back in. Again, this one here goes to that top lug. This one here is a plug that goes to the back side of the alternator. And this plug here is the one that goes to the AC compressor. So make sure you reconnect that. Otherwise, it's going to be a hot one. Now that all the plugs are back in place and the covers are back on, I put that bolt back in here to hold this bracket in place. I'm going to put the dipstick tube back in there so I don't forget. And then don't forget to put the bolts back in your AC lines here to snug them back up. We're going to put the power steering reservoir back in place and hook the lines back up that we took and moved off to the side. And don't forget to fill the system back up. And it has to be Honda power steering fluid. You can't just put any fluid in it. So make sure you top that off. Then we're going to reroute the belt. We're going to start this guy up after putting the battery back in place. And we're going to see what we have now for a charging system. All right, so before I go and put any of the beauty covers back on, I got everything all back together. So we're going to take a look at what the resting battery voltage is. 1291. It's great. I'll give it a start and we'll see what it is. All right, 1483, 1484 on a cold start. That's great. You got a charging system again. All right, well, there she is. Beauty covers are all back on and we're good to go and hit the road. So I hope this helped you out. And if it did, do me a favor, smash that like button. Comment down below and share the link with your friends because maybe they have an alternator that's dying on their Odyssey and they need to get this replaced too. Happy motoring, and I'll catch you in the next video.